What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to Junior and the Big Dog, your favorite father and son duo when it comes to covering Miami Hurricanes football and sports. Hope everybody's having the best week that they could have, I guess, after a disappointing weekend, Saturday, nonetheless. But what's going on, Big Dog?
I'm doing well, doing well. The obviously we're disappointed with the outcome, but we're going to go over. We were going to do film breakdown of the game today. We're actually going to do the film breakdown probably either over the weekend or next week, because since everybody saw the game, I think there was a lot to unpack in terms of opinions, and we're actually dealing with YouTube also because of the issue that happened on Thursday's live chat, where we actually were perfectly in compliance with fair use provisions of copyright law, and yet they did what they did during our live chat, which obviously made us kind of angry because we are very much sticklers about going by the letter of the law and being well within compliance with fair use and copyright law, and that's something that we take very seriously. We always give credit for anything that we use, and for them to do what they did on the live chat obviously made us angry. And now being part of the YouTube partner program, we're going to deal with YouTube and to make sure that that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
But then we are going to do film breakdown regardless next week. But there was everybody saw the game, and there was so much to unpack in terms of opinions, and that we decided to do this, do a breakdown of each individual unit, talk about that, and then obviously then we'll do a more technical approach when we do the film breakdown next week. But I know people were and we're very appreciative as always, guys. If you're new to us, please like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell so you get notified of every new video, and also comment. We always interact and we respond 100% of the time, even even though to some people that we end up maybe not should not have responded to, because like I said, guys, I don't know. I was thinking about that actually today. Is there's a little bit of a disconnect in terms of generations, and I know I raised you very much old school. This, banter back and forth or disagreements back and forth are perfectly fine. I mean, that's part of the game. But this idea that seems to be like a new generational thing where people hide behind their keyboards and say disrespectful things, man, I'm a different generation. It's you kid around and stuff like that with your friends, but somebody that you don't know says something disrespectful, the talking is over. The way I was brought up, and I think the way I brought you up. So I don't like to get into that little back and forth. Like I said, disagreements and stuff like that. That's and different opinions, and that's awesome. That those are good, and we'll talk about it back and forth, and we'll give reasons for it and go over it. But when something is goes to the personal level, yeah, I don't. There's no more talking to be done. So
Yeah, it was a tough Saturday. I know we took a little long to give our reaction, and we didn't go live. After the game, I was in Ohio. I didn't get back until yesterday. So between getting back and then getting things situated back down here in South Florida for myself, we didn't get around to doing a video yesterday. So we're actually yesterday, which is Monday. You guys are seeing this on Wednesday. So it's currently Tuesday. So we figured, we'll go ahead and get our thoughts, reactions, review on the game. Obviously, our live chat is just like always will be on Thursday at 7 p.m. So hopefully you guys can tune in. And I have a feeling we're going to be talking a lot more about the game. But, I was a little more vocal on Twitter. I had to take care of Big Dog for a second there because I got the real glimpse of how my old man gets with this whole Florida and UM rivalry, and there's a point there where his blood pressure was not looking good.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was a crazy night. A lot of knee jerk reactions, but you mentioned the Florida fans, and I just want to make a quick little comment about some quote unquote Miami Hurricanes fans. Now,
And listen, and when I mentioned the Florida fans, there were a lot of Florida fans that were gracious, that were very much saying, "Wow, you guys are much better than I thought you were,"
yeah,
and it could have gone either way, and those, so there was some that were gracious. So I
I
don't want
mean,
to paint them all with the same brush.
you gotta be. I mean, it was an ugly game.
It was ugly.
I understand it's week 0, but if you're a hardcore Gator, you can't be happy with the product that you displayed on Saturday
Right.
either. So I mean, but just a quick. It's not gonna be long. We're gonna go through our position breakdown. Between we're gonna go by secondary, linebackers, defensive line, and then we'll go to the offensive side of the football. But I'm not liking the tone of some. I'm not gonna say all or most, but some Miami Hurricanes fans out there. And if you guys might be one of them watching, I understand that the narrative and the feeling of talking about, oh, is the U back, is the U back, is the U back year after year for some Canes fans. you know this may feel, you walk away from Saturday on such a big stage against a rivalry, Florida especially, that we don't play them often. You got the new Miami, new head coach, promising quarterback. You got the defense, you got the new chains, you got the new rings, all these kind of things, and then you walk away with an L. I'm seeing a lot of Hurricanes fans like, oh, this is the same stuff again. Here we go again, type of thing. And there's one thing that I just wanted to comment on before we start getting into the breakdown. Rome wasn't built in a day, and in order for us to really get back to greatness, and I'm not talking about just winning the ACC Coastal or competing for an ACC championship. The standards here at the University of Miami is about winning national championships, and that's something that Manny has been preaching ever since he got here. Now, with that being said, in order for you to really get back to that standard that the U's known for, it's not gonna hang, or it's not gonna live or die on one game. And that Florida game, is an example of that. You know, you need to find out where you're at, and what I love is what the players have been saying, and what Manny, and Enos, what they've been saying since the loss from Saturday is the Miami Hurricanes need to get better. And there are things that we need to focus on. It's not necessarily on focusing on beating one opponent, but it's focusing on the Miami Hurricanes getting better to be able to live up to that standard of where, okay, the U really is back. Now, I understand the disappointment. You know, I think of most teams out there, if there's one team you don't want to lose to, is Florida. But I that was probably, between the sacks and between the penalties, and that was one of the most sloppy games that I've seen the Hurricanes play in a very long time. And we almost walked away with a win against a Power Five top 10 team. So, and against, obviously, we're going to be talking about a true freshman and freshman tackles. It being Jaron's first start. There are so many things that you can point to that you can walk away with Saturday. There's no such thing as moral victories. It's an L. We are 0-1. The Gators are 1-0.
Correct.
Manny said it better than anybody. Losing to the University of Florida is never acceptable. So I'm not making excuses,
Correct.
and I'm not being a fanboy, but I think there are a lot of things that we can take away from Saturday's game and be very optimistic about. So I just kind of wanted to say that to those Hurricane fans out there thinking that this is, that the U's never going to be back, and are seeing the glass half empty instead of seeing the glass half full. I mean, guys, even though I expect, and I know Big Dog, you expect us to get better and correct the mistakes that we made on Saturday, clean things up, and very possibly go 11-1 heading into Charlotte against Clemson, and then we'll see what happens from there. But you know, if those of you expected to see us completely blow out Florida and have that dominance and that sit, competing from national championship from week 0, I mean, then you were just not being realistic. But I think that I walked away Saturday. Of course, I was disappointed, man. Me and the big dog didn't even want to jump on live because we were still like, man, how can all those things go
Explain
wrong?
to them then on Sunday we had multiple fantasy football drafts that we
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
that's why we couldn't do Sunday either. Uh,
100%.
but so they understand the reasons why.
Yeah. Um, but so, I mean, guys, if you're, I don't know, man. And maybe it's because Twitter is very toxic at times.
And
So,
it
so,
is, and
so
it amplifies everything.
it amplifies everything. So I'm sure the majority of the fan base, can mirror the things that I'm saying and are in agreement with the things that I'm saying, and that we could take a lot of good things away from Saturday. And frankly, I think that North Carolina is gonna be in for a rude awakening. And I think that this team, you just look back at the LSU game last year, okay, where the roles were pretty much reversed. I know LSU was ranked 25th, and we were ranked number 8th, but I mean, we just got our butts kicked, and you just didn't see the fight. You didn't see the same want that you saw on Saturday. Frankly, as ugly as we played at times, and as the lack of discipline that we showed at times, there was no reason we should have been in a game against a top 10 opponent. But we were, and we were winning, and we had a chance to win it at the end of the game. So these guys kept on clawing, they kept on fighting, and they showed heart. And if you just hear the tone of the players, whether it's DJ, whether it's Jaron, whether it's and to the coaching staff, Enos and Manny, man, they're ticked off. They're not they don't sound defeated, and that's what really encourages me moving forward. They're ticked off because they know they should have came out of Orlando with the win. So
Manny said those very words,
right,
that there was nobody hanging their heads. People were angry.
yeah, because
They
they
were angry
they
because
know.
they let one get away.
And look, man, like, and I think Manny said it as well. Like, okay, now these guys know that they can go toe to toe with anybody in college football, because the fact that you played, as sloppy as you did, and you made as many mistakes as you did, and
If if I would have told you that we would commit 14 penalties and give up 10 sacks, what would you have said the final score was?
oh, we would have lost. We would have lost by three touchdowns
At least,
at least,
if not more.
if not more. Right.
Correct. Correct.
100%. So yeah, I just Canes fam out there, I understand it. Everybody has their opinions, and you want to blame one thing or the other on the loss. Frankly, there's a lot of things you could point at, but at the end of the day, it's an L, and there's no point on really. I know we're gonna get into discussions,
Right.
and a lot of people are gonna have their things to say, especially on Thursday on our live chat.
Right.
And so I get it. I do get it, but
Well,
I don't like the being pessimistic about this Canes team, because you need to see things through a broad, lens, and
well,
see the bigger picture. Is
well,
what I'm,
and,
what I'm
and,
trying
and
to get
that's
at.
the thing. That's the thing. What I'm going to say to that is this: if last year we lost 6 games,
Mhm.
we were down 33-3 to LSU.
Mhm.
We got beat 35-3 by Wisconsin.
Mhm.
We lost to Virginia. We lost to Duke. We lost to Boston College. And we lost to, which one am I missing? Virginia, Duke, Boston College. Wait,
Virginia.
LSU, Virginia, Duke, Boston College, Wisconsin, and there's one more team that we lost to. You know what? That's simple enough. I tell you what. When I'm finishing the comment, look it up online so it doesn't
Yeah, I
drive me
got you. I
crazy.
got you.
Look up our schedule online. Off the top of my head, It's I'm like trying to remember the all the losses, which I want to try to forget. But if you guys,
Well, you Virginia. You say Virginia?
I said Virginia, Boston College, Duke, Wisconsin, LSU, and who's the sixth team that I'm missing? And our 6 losses. Just pull up the schedule from last year.
Yeah, I got it.
But if you guys,
Oh, that's right. We did lose to Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech, there you go. I'm sorry, that was a 6-1.
We almost lost to Georgia Tech the year before.
Yeah, that was a 6-1. So if you guys are trying to say that this loss against Florida is anything like any of those 6 losses last year, I don't know what to tell you, because then I don't know what type of football you're watching, because what I saw was a team that, even though it was making very youthful mistakes by a lot of first-time starters, that cost us. Mm-hmm. We were outplaying Florida for a good chunk of that game. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this idea of, oh, this is the same old, I don't know what you were watching, because we have a what we've been asking for, a legitimate stud at quarterback, that even though, and we're going to address that, even though there was things there that he absolutely needs to improve upon, there was also a huge amount of things there that he answered the bell on. Mm-hmm. And one that I did not, I'll put it this way, I did not know it, but I didn't know it either, was the toughness that Jaron showed. Right. I knew he was unflappable, and I knew that the lights were not going to be too bright for him, but the toughness and the competitiveness that he showed that just because he's quiet and he smiles a lot and stuff like that, don't mistake kindness for weakness, because that's a big mistake that people make. And he showed the grit that you need, and I'm actually even more sold on him as being that complete generational type of quarterback, and we'll get into that. But besides that, guys, the future is really, really bright. And one of the things that I love that Manny said was he was not looking to build a team for August 24th. He's looking to build a monster for years to come. Mm-hmm. And that's the right attitude.
That's the thing that Canes fam out there need to wrap their head around. Like,
and guys were harping on, oh, you see what Ina said? He threw Jaron under the bus. Mm-mm. Listen to what Jaron said today. That's not the way Jaron looks at it. Yeah. Jaron looks at it that he wants him to be perfect. Mm-hmm. And when they asked him, are you okay with that? What did he say? He didn't say, I'm okay with it.
He said, I love it.
He didn't say, I like it. He said, I love it.
I love it.
I love it. Why? Because Dan Enos is going to make me to be the quarterback that I can be and not settle for anything less. Mm-hmm. That's
guys. I don't agree with what I know what Enos is doing, and I know his reasoning behind it, but I don't agree with some of the things that he said.
I don't either.
But I know why he said it.
Correct. And Coach, I think it's Coach Blocker, that in the trenches, I forget the exact YouTube handle. Really nice guy, and a guy who follows us, and he's an offensive line coach. Mm-hmm. So him and I always talk about the trenches and stuff. He said something that's true. That's absolutely true. And it is the guys that you saw in Zion and John Campbell, from here on out, you'll never see those two guys again. Because the Zion that you're going to see from here on out and the John Campbell that you're going to see from here on out are going to be completely different dudes, because what happened to Florida is a building block. Mm-hmm. Okay, just like you're going to see a different Jaron, just like you're probably going to see a different Jeff Thomas the rest of the year, just like you're going to see a different Will Mallory, just like you're going to see a different Al Blades. Okay, there was lessons to be learned, and yes, we're not in for moral victories. Yes, our goal is winning every single game that we play. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we came up short. I get that. But that team that we saw Saturday had nothing to look nothing like the University of Miami that we saw last year. No, at all.
Not at all.
At all. Mm-mm. And what I saw was guys that showed toughness, that showed grit, And there were times that people thought, like with Jeff Thomas, when the fumble punt,
Hmm.
you know, there was times that and all the blown tackles on the Tony touchdown
But
that
you
people just saw, oh, here it goes. No, the Miami wasn't having any oh.
but you know why I think that is. Manny has been, drilling it into their heads. How are we going to respond to adversity? Because adversity is going to come. Like he wasn't blowing up their heads like, oh, we're going to go out there and we're going to play
And,
flawlessly
and
and
listen, and with all due respect, we got to say the same about Florida
oh yeah.
because they responded to adversity too. They did.
I just wonder how they would have responded if we would have capitalized
Right.
on some of the things that we
Right.
should have
Yeah, that
capitalized on.
holding call, that Cam, I don't know what would have happened there if we go up by on the Cam Harris long run.
Hmm.
If we go up there at that point, I you don't know. You don't know. Maybe
Right.
I don't know. I don't think about quit or anything like that. But Franks maybe gets a little even looser with the ball. Those type of
Well,
things. Maybe we could have turned it into
I mean,
a comfortable win.
before that DJ Dallas run that put us back ahead. I was thinking to myself, when we went down after leading at halftime, I was just like, those old feelings of the last couple years, you start to get worried. You're like, oh man, on this stage now we gotta respond. So man, so you're kind of like, well, let's see. And I think Manny and company they've done a great job of preaching to his kids like, hey, it is going to happen. Like we will be down at a point in a game, something bad will happen, whether it be a turnover, whether it be a missed tackle. Like bad things are going to happen, especially in week 0. Where Manny said one of some of the most important things when it comes to like week 0 type of game is, can you tackle? Are you conditioned well enough? And did we tackle on that Tony little
No, we
no
blew a bunch of tackles.
66 yarder and boom. So
Bunch
I
of
mean,
tackles.
so rappelling was an issue. I think we did get better as the game went on, because I'm sure they got an earful at halftime, and then we started to see Florida really start struggling with their tackles and stuff like that. Even though DJ is not easy to bring down, man. So, but I mean, yeah. What we could go on, big dog. I think we should
Oh,
we should probably just start talking about like
we
the
will.
position groups.
One more thing I just want to say, guys. I'm telling you, let me just refresh your memories. Okay, our first national championship, we lost to Florida 28-3 on the opening game.
DJ
Okay,
Dallas tweeted it and everything.
that's right.
1993,
Okay,
baby.
1983.
That's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said 93.
No, 83.
We lost 28-3 to Florida. That was Bernie Kosar's first start. Okay, nobody knew who Bernie Kosar was going to end up being.
Right.
Okay, 11 straight wins. Okay, and we ended up winning the national championship and beating the team that at that time people thought was the greatest team of all time in Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the following year, people forget Jimmy Johnson's first year as a head coach. We went 8-5 with a defense that struggled, that was really, really struggling. Okay, then the following year we did go 10-2, and then actually had a shot at winning the national championship. People forget, but we lost to Tennessee in the Sugar Bowl that year. Because of the way everything broke, we actually had an opportunity to, if we would have beaten Tennessee, to win a national championship that year too. And then obviously, it went on. Ken Dorsey against Washington. Okay, University of Washington. Lost that game. Okay. He won the next 34. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that Jaron stood up against 10 sacks, some of them were brought on by himself,
Mm-hmm.
okay? But regardless, there's still 10 sacks. You didn't see him gun shy. You might have seen him gun shy in terms of looking at the rush, trying to escape the rush. There was no dud. There was no dot, what is it? Curling up in a ball.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to fight for every yard. He was trying to get away from every sack. There was no, giving up on plays.
Mhm.
He showed tremendous toughness, and if anything, he fought too hard
Mhm.
to break tackles and to hang on to the ball and to try to make something happen.
Mhm.
So there was an incredible amount of grit and toughness shown by Jaron and by the team as a whole. That loss, if you guys think that, like I said, that had any resemblance to the 6 losses last year, or even the 3 the year before that, I
Mhm.
don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, because then you watch football much differently than I do.
Right.
Because I saw, you know, I posed this question off air, and I said a question, and it was a fair question, but we're going to talk about the offensive line. I said, if we swapped offensive tackles, meaning we get Forsyth and DeLance, and they get Zion and John Campbell, what is the final score of the game? And the truth is, Miami wins by 3 touchdowns. Okay? Now, that's not to say that Zion and John Campbell don't end up being better players than Forsyth and DeLance are.
Mhm.
Okay? Especially Zion. Actually, with both, I see a pretty high ceiling. With Zion, I see a very high ceiling. But he's a true freshman starting in his first game. John Campbell's a redshirt freshman starting in his first game. Okay? Stone Forsyth and the Lance, they did not have a lot of experience as starters, but they have played quite a bit and
Mhm.
have played in big games. So it's a bit of a difference. And if you swap those tackles out, and that's not to say that I'm putting the blame on Zion and John Campbell, and I know it might sound that way. What I'm saying is that just those 2 positions would have made this a completely different ballgame.
Mhm.
Okay. And what I mean by that is the Zion Nelson and the John Campbell you will see going forward bears no resemblance to the Zion Nelson and John Campbell that were on Camping World Stadium on Saturday.
Mhm.
Because both those guys will be much, I'll tell you what, and I know that this might sound, as somebody who's a football junkie, they won't just be better players, they'll be better men because of what happened Saturday.
Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
Because you know what they proved to themselves? That even when stuff is going horrible, there's no quit in either one of those guys.
Mhm.
And I was yes, I don't believe in moral victories, but I was damn proud that Zion and John Campbell, even though they were getting beat by guys that, like Manny said, listen, they got beat. And they got beat by 2 guys in Greenard and Zuniga, who'll be playing on Sundays next year.
Mhm.
Okay? And they got their butts handed to them. But you know what? They never quit.
Mhm.
Okay? And they'll be made better because of that. And
Mhm.
they'll be made better men because of that. Because they learned that they can look at themselves in the mirror and know, even when everything went really poorly and we were getting our butts handed to us, I kept fighting.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm going to get better because of it. And I'm going to hold my head up high, and I'm going to come out and take it out on North Carolina. And guys, the future is bright. And if you don't want to see it that way,
I don't
what do they
know.
say? There might be room on the bandwagon later on. But I'm going to tell you right now, we
Probably
got the
not.
right coach in place. We got the right coaches, right head coach, right assistant coaches, right quarterback, right players. And the future is very bright. And if you don't feel that way, so be it.
Yeah.
So be it. But that team, that loss had nothing in resemblance to those 6 losses last year.
Those Canes fans that are doubting and saying, "Oh, this is the same old Canes team," oh, we're always back, and oh, now we're not. Those will be the loudest ones when we prove to be back for real, like winning natties, and they'll be the loudest ones. That's
The
just
ones that will say, "Oh, I knew it. I knew it. I
yeah.
told you all. I knew it."
I
Yeah,
knew it. I knew it the whole time,
yeah,
man. So,
yeah.
but
You're
whatever,
right
man.
about that.
Let's go ahead and
All right, let's
let's
start
start.
off with the secondary.
Yeah, let's start grading out the secondary.
We're going to go by units here, guys. Um, on the secondary, you want to take it by player? You want to just go overall, and then we can discuss players.
No, we could just go overall and just and point out specific players that really either popped out at us or guys that we think didn't play as well as we thought they were going to play.
Yeah, yeah. I understand that he's a sophomore, and I know, and this doesn't change our affection for him. This doesn't change anything. I was disappointed with Al Blades. I was. I understand right before the game. And by the way, that's another thing I want to mention. Those of you guys that said that, oh well, Manny should not have suspended DJ Ivy. You have no idea how to run a team, do you? Or how to coach up young men.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you send a message, oh, we're going to suspend you, but we're going to do it against Bethune-Cookman because we need you. That sends the kid the wrong message completely.
Sure.
Okay. If he did something that was obviously, Manny said it, we laid out the rules and we laid out the punishment for breaking those rules. Ivy committed some infraction. He goes suspended for the next game. Next game happened to be Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't see any suspension on Florida's part. So take that for what it's worth.
Right.
But Ivy being suspended, guys, that's the way you coach up these kids.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's not, okay, we're gonna suspend you, but we're gonna do it when it's convenient for us when we don't need you.
That doesn't just send a message to the kid.
It sends it to everybody.
It sends it to the whole team. Frankly, I mean,
I don't care if it's before the national championship game. You make a mistake, you disregard a rule, there's consequences.
Yeah, 100%.
Period. So the thing with Blades, missed tackles. Okay, I actually think he missed Tony twice. I was disappointed. I was really disappointed with the penalty of when I know that you said you thought he flipped off.
I know for
Frank.
sure. I know for sure he flipped them off.
To me, I thought he was
both.
I thought he was doing 305.
Nah.
But then I think you and other people thought that he shot the double bird at Frank's.
Yeah, you don't do when you're jumping up and you do this like very fast. You're not
doing the 305.
You're doing something else. So it was
whatever he did.
Yeah.
That doesn't reflect who Al Blades is as a kid. Okay, that doesn't. Anybody that works as hard as he does, that cares as much as he does, I know he feels worse for that than anybody else in this world.
You just got caught up in the moment, man.
You got caught up in the moment, and you need to learn to keep those emotions. The same emotions that were getting the best of you, that was making you press too much, are those same emotions that made you make that mistake. And the thing you need to learn now is that no matter what occurs in life, the one thing you could always control is your reaction to it. And when you make a mistake like that, it's a mistake that hurt your teammates, that hurt your team, because those were 15 yards that we couldn't afford to give up.
Especially after such a momentum shift at that point in the game. I mean,
that play that Finley made and that play that the pass rush made that actually caused that interception.
If Finley just would have broke it to the outside, man.
Manny was upset because he said there was that they practice a lot, and that's pretty common, especially a defensive coach like him that's going to practice a lot interception returns and fumble returns and people having responsibilities, that there was some missed blocks on the interception returns that he felt that they both should have gone to the house. I was disappointed. I thought in coverage overall he did pretty well.
I think good. That flag, that pass interference, I do not think was pass interference. I mean, they were jogging for position, and the most important thing that referees look at is whether your head is turned or not. And he turned.
True. But he had the other. That's another thing, is that second hand. If you put that second hand, you're going to get that call. If you are jockeying for position with one hand, as you look back, they'll let you get away with that.
But the receiver was also putting both of his hands on Bandy.
But I thought it was on Blades. On Blades. But I thought it was reactionary. The Finley call was a lot worse.
Oh, the Finley call was worse, for sure.
The Finley call was a lot worse. That was not pass interference on Finley. The Blades call, frankly, if I'm the guy, if I'm making that call, I throw the flag.
You think so?
Yeah.
See, I don't. I didn't see
I throw the flag. The second hand, because what you're doing is bracketing the receiver there and bracketing with contact. And that's the thing, because now you're basically trying not to allow either hand to come up for the catch.
I understand, but the contact was initiated from the receiver though.
That's what I mean, though. They'll let you hand fight as long as you're using one arm.
For
Once you,
but I think that
that
goes
second
that
hand makes contact, they're going to throw that flag.
but I think that goes for both for both sides of the ball. If the receiver is trying to put two hands.
Wait, hold on now. Hold on. Are you trying to tell me that it's news to you that the offense always gets the advantage?
No. What I'm trying to say is that what you do see sometimes is, when there's such tight coverage and they're jockeying for, for position, and the receiver
Initiates contact.
initiates the contact with both hands.
But
And
wait
it
though.
wasn't like Al Blades, like he didn't push him. He didn't grab a jersey. You
Right. No, it wasn't blatant. I'm not saying that it was blatant. I'm just saying if I was in that position, I throw the flag. I throw the flag. I think the fact that the initial contact was initiated with Blades in terms of putting the left hand on him. Then when Blades, then it was the receiver that was, that was escalating the contact. But then Al put that second hand on him, and that's the thing. But regardless, it's. I think overall he did well in
the
coverage.
Finley one was worse for sure. It was
Yeah, the
worse.
Finley one was definitely not. That was beautiful coverage, and it wasn't anywhere near pass interference.
Yeah.
So that was a horrible call.
Hmm.
I think overall we did well in coverage. I think we could have obviously Firestone, who played really well up until that point,
Yeah.
which people need to remember. Gilbert Firestone played a whale of a game. Okay, now we know one-on-one coverage is not the strongest part of his game with a speedy receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with Josh Hammond at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I get that, but he still played a really good game. Gervin, I think Gervin was a little tight early on.
Mm-hmm.
I think as the game wore on, he started playing a little looser.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I thought played well. Trajan's Trajan. Bandy's Bandy. He's always plays it. I mean, he's as solid and as good as they come.
Yeah.
Finley, what can I say about Romeo?
Dude, at the end of the day, what some of the things that we talked about leading up to this game was how much talent the Gators had with their wide receivers. So frankly, we didn't see, that talent show out the way we thought it might at times show out on Saturday. And I think that speaks a lot to to our secondary and how well they did in coverage.
I was in coverage. They did well. I was really disappointed in those missed tackles.
Yeah,
and I know people focus a lot on Amari and Amari being a big hitter. He made that big interception. Actually, I thought he covered pretty well. I thought which is supposed to be his weak part, but he needed to make that tackle on Tony. That's one thing. When you're the safety man, you have to get him on the ground.
Yeah.
And he reached and tried to grab him on the shoulder pad. That's one of those plays, man, and I think part of the focus was not letting him get a first down, and then they were overly aggressive, and then when they missed the tackle, then they both missed again, or I think Amari missed him once. I think Al missed him twice. That was a heartbreaker there, because we had just, and again, responding to adversity, we had given up the fake punt. I was really, really disappointed with the secondary's tackling in that first half.
Yeah,
and it cost us. And one of the things that Manny said is that now they realize that one missed tackle could end up costing you a ball game. And so I was disappointed. I thought Al could have played much better. I think he might have been pressing. I do think the loss of Ivy made a difference. And I'm wondering.
But then again, man, I mean,
to start next week.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. But also that was the first time, man, that Blades has been put, in that position opposite of Bandy. So I mean, we're seeing those growing pains and those hiccups that we thought we were going to see anyways. So I mean,
He's going to improve. He's
he's
going
gonna
to
yeah.
improve a bunch, and this will go a long way to helping him get those butterflies out of his system. Overall, if I had to grade the secondary, especially coming up with the 2 interceptions, um, I give him a B. I think I give him a B plus maybe.
Yeah.
The only reason if they didn't miss those tackles on the Tony touchdown, then actually they struggled a little bit with tackling overall on in the first half.
Yeah.
I thought they did much better in the second half, which is listed as encouraging, and I'm proud of them.
I'll tell you what, I'm giving Bandy an A plus.
I'm definitely giving Bandy an A. Al, especially that penalty at the end.
Yeah.
That's just something that cannot happen.
Yeah.
Cannot happen. And then we ended up with a chop block and took another 15.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we lose 30 yards in field position at a time when we need to score a touchdown. That cannot happen.
100%. But
Cannot happen.
the wide receivers didn't have the day that we thought that
No.
they could have had, and
Correct.
and I think that does speak to our secondary. So yeah, I'm with you. I'll give them a B as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I will. And like I said, I was real happy with the play of Bandy, obviously, up until giving up that long pass. And one of the things that we talked about that we were asked coming into the season, that people asked us how we were going to, compare to last year in pass defense. And one of the things that we said in our breakdown was we are more talented, but we are going to give up some bigger plays because of the difference in experience between Jaquan, and that's exactly what we saw.
That's what we saw.
We saw him do very, very well, show more talent, but make experience mistakes, and the experience mistake cost us big. So that's something that I think they'll get cleaned up, and I think Al Blades will be much better for it, for what happened on Saturday. And I expect him. That young man is tough, and I expect him to bounce back. But I was expecting better from him, and I was really disappointed in that penalty. And it came at a really inopportune time.
I'm with you.
But overall, that's what I'll give him. Let's get to the linebackers. Linebackers overall, I know people are going to say, well, they didn't make the game-changing plays and yada, yada, yada. Okay. I'll say this much for you. All right? Coming into this game, people said, we won't face a stable of running backs like you're facing in this game. Okay? Michael Pirine and Malik Davis and Damian Pierce, you all won't be able to handle them. 1.9 yards a carry.
There you go.
Okay? There was one sack factored into that. So if you take that sack out, 2.1 yards a carry. All right? So all this talk about Franks and that we were worried about Franks running the ball, and about Malik Davis being that change of pace, and about Michael Pirine being one of the best running backs we're going to face.
Hey, you brought it up, and I know we're gonna cover it, and I know it's not necessarily talking about the linebackers, but how about Blake Baker and what he did with Garvin spying on Franks, man?
Brilliant.
I think that was one of those wrinkles that we knew we were gonna see some wrinkles. But man, he contained Franks, and that was huge and very smart on his part, and I was really impressed with that. I really was.
Yep, absolutely, and I think the linebackers guys, this is a little technical, but I want you guys to understand the type of defense that Manny and Blake Baker play. The type of 4-3 that they use is very much an attacking 4-3. Meaning that the defensive linemen, yes, they have gap responsibilities, but they're trying to penetrate. Right. They're trying to wreak havoc. Okay, so they're not trying to keep people off the linebackers. Mm-hmm. Okay, they're trying to penetrate. Mm-hmm. Okay, that it's not like a lot of like a 3-4 defense where you're trying the nose tackle is trying to occupy two guys and trying to hold his ground, and then trying to keep the linebackers clean to go make plays. That's not the type of defense we play. I like our style better, which is that 4-3 attacking with athletic guys. Yes, we'll have one of the D tackles play like a one technique or play more of a run stopping than a penetrating type of. But but basically they're all trying to penetrate still.
Mm-hmm.
The linebackers have to fill those gaps. And guys, you saw there wasn't any place for LaMichael Pirine or Malik Davis or Dameon Pierce to run. Okay, we did a fantastic job, and the linebackers deserve credit for that. I thought Pinckney played well in coverage. I mean, overall, I don't think they were exposed in coverage at all. I mean, I know they didn't necessarily make the game-changing plays, but I'd still give them, I'd say an A minus. As overall as a grade.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'd have to break it down. I don't. When we break down the film and then we tend to grade it more intensely with that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
The film that I've seen so far has been specifically looking for certain things, so it hasn't been grading it in mind. So take these grades with a grain of salt. But overall, with what they did in the run game, I thought that they did excellent stopping the run. I think they did excellent not letting Franks scramble too much. In fact, I think we sort of held them in check quite a bit.
Yeah, I think so too.
And they deserve credit for that. So they definitely deserve that A minus. Defensive line, oh my God, did they do a great job against the run. Against the pass, we should have gotten more sacks than we did. Our tackling was not good.
Rousseau should have had 3. He did get 1, but he should have had 3 where he got to Franks, but he wasn't able to bring him down.
Now, mind you, I
Franks is big.
Yeah, I get
6'6".
Correct. He's 6'6", 245.
Right.
And he's a load to bring down. I get that.
But but big guys like that, you wrap him up by the legs, and you should be able to bring him down. And right. Rousseau had him wrapped around the legs twice, and wasn't able to hold on. So right. that's something that
Rousseau did get that 1 sack, but you're right. He should have had a couple of more.
Right, and that sack that he got, I mean, it was I think Franks rolled out to his right.
Shaq helped him by
Shaq exactly.
By the way, guys, did you guys see Shaq's speed on that delayed when he was spying Franks and went after him?
No, did you see Shaq's
abs? Completely different than it was. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Did you see Shaq's abs?
Hey, what is it? All hail David Feely.
All hail David Feely.
Yeah, no, but Shaq deserves the credit too because he's the one that had to put in the work. So, but Shaq looked like he had a different gear than he's had in the past.
Yeah.
Because he got there quick.
I'm expecting.
He forced Franks back, and that's how.
Rousseau. Yeah, right. But in 2 other plays, Rousseau got penetration and had Franks wrapped up, but wasn't able to hold on. So that's something you would like to see.
We only ended up with 1 sack on the game, and we got to get guys on the ground. And I know our tackling is going to be better. Mm-hmm. Sort of nature of the beast. First, second game of the year, you're going to have some issues tackling because they restrict. First all quarterbacks, they can't touch them. Then they restrict. I mean, every once in a while you'll see somebody have a scrimmage that is live, and even then the quarterback will be. When they call the quarterback live, it's tackle him gently, type of thing, and it's hard. It's hard when guys are not tackling a bunch in camp. But you still have to wrap them up. I would give the defensive line, Jonathan Ford and Pat Bethel played themselves a ball game.
They did.
They played themselves a ball game.
They did.
And I know that Chigozie and Jordan Miller got in some also. So we're going to give them a shout out too. The defensive ends did a great job setting the edge. So overall, man, I'm really happy. In terms of a unit, I don't know if I could think of a unit that played better than our defensive line. I really can't. Maybe the linebackers are right there with them. But, man, their running game was shut down. And you guys
I'll be honest. I know it comes down to the tackling on that big 66-yard touchdown. and also Frierson getting beat deep by Hammond. But besides those two plays, man, I mean, there was times where, and like you said, Big Dog, we didn't see the penetration that we would have liked to see on the pass. That we thought we were going to see when it comes to the defensive line. But even when there wasn't that expected penetration, I mean, Franks wasn't slinging the ball because there wasn't. The secondary did a great job
They did
of
do a good
of,
job of covering.
of
Absolutely.
covering. And man, you gotta talk about almost all those guys were either juniors
Against the most talented wide receiver group we're going to see the entire year.
by far. What did Grimes do?
Yep.
I mean, Van Jefferson. I mean, these guys didn't have themselves, a
A
ball
day.
game. So even when we did see, and even when Franks, for example, when I think one of the times that Franks was rolling out to his left, and Garvin popped up playing that quote unquote Viper role kind of, but spying on Franks. Franks was still looking downfield and he couldn't find anybody, open. So I think all in all, man, our defense obviously. I know two of the turnovers were kind of gifted to us. I mean,
Right, right.
frankly, and we just it looks like on one of the turnovers we just took the ball away from whoever it was that jumped on it
And
from
by
from
the way,
Florida
on our Mari Carter's interception, Jonathan Ford was pressuring the throw.
was pressuring that throw, and that was amazing concentration from Amari Carter to go ahead and come down with that ball. But but yeah, I mean we still got two turnovers that passed to Finley, man. I had to have no idea what Florida was thinking. I have no idea what Franks was thinking on
Listen,
not just throwing in a situation, but you know
he said he was trying to throw it out.
whatever.
And I know we put pressure on him. We put pressure on him, which was one of the reasons why, he had trouble throwing it. But
I
you got to throw that
guess
ball into like the seventh row of the stands
I
and take
get
the penalty. I know you're not outside the tackle box. Who cares? Take the. I mean, I know that if you do a intentional grounding
yeah
call, you get the loss of down too.
yeah
It stops the clock. I get that, but so would have an incomplete pass. Stop the clock.
right.
So, but yeah,
Uh,
you don't make that mistake. I mean, that's the thing that Florida fans talking about a Heisman candidate. I didn't see. I mean, listen, he made some plays.
You don't
He
gotta
made
be
some
nice.
plays.
You don't gotta be nice, man. There's no chance that
No, no,
Franks is
no,
gonna be a
no, no. We
Heisman
know
candidate.
that. We knew that though.
Yeah,
But the thing is, yeah, that's a throw that's one of the dumbest throws I've seen in a long time.
yeah,
It really is. I mean, there's no other way of saying it. It really was because that should have lost them the ball game, and it did.
oh yeah, I know.
But it should have. The and listen, their secondary, especially those cornerbacks, they're for real.
Hmm.
And I know that it wasn't that they locked us down the way they said, but they did a damn good job in
Yeah,
coverage. So, but listen,
the defense did enough, big dog.
our
More than
defense,
enough to win the game.
you take away the bad tackling on the Tony play, okay, and then Frierson getting beat on the Hammond one. You take those two away, and you're looking at our defense allows less than 200 yards total,
Exactly.
and they allowed 2 yards a carry, basically. Okay, actually 1.9 in the stats yards a carry.
Right.
Four turnovers, and like you said, a couple more gifted, but also look at the hustle of our defense. Look at the way that we got to on those loose balls that it looked like we weren't going to get either one of those, and we ended up getting both because of having guys hustling to the ball.
Yeah.
And then forcing four turnovers, allowing less than 2 yards a carry. If you take away the stack, it's still 2 yards a carry. Um, Doing what we did, in adverse circumstances, because the muff punt, allowed one of those touchdowns in. The other one was the bad tackling on the Tony play.
Hmm.
So overall, our defense played very, very well. Definitely played well enough to win,
Yeah.
and I think we'll play even better now that we got those first week mistakes of missed tackles and stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
But our defensive line, I thought, did fantastic. I thought Garvin, I know people are judging him because he didn't get a sack, but he got pressure multiple times, did a great job when he was spying Franks. Um, set the edge really, really well. Obviously, Rousseau is going to be a problem. That's the guy that I picked to lead the team in sacks. He's virtually unblockable on passing downs. I do think sooner or later you're going to see him getting more and more snaps and Patchen getting fewer. Um, Trayvon Hill, I thought, did well. Listen, overall, our defense played more than well enough to win.
Oh, 100%.
And there's a lot to look forward there.
Yep.
Now on offense, want to start off with the tight ends. We'll go tight ends, wide receivers, running backs, and then we'll do offensive line and end up with Jaron.
Okay.
The tight ends, Brevin had a game. I know people are going to look at, that pass in the end zone that he could have caught, which would have been a tremendous catch. But I know if you talk to Brevin, he'd be one of the ones that said, well, I got to make that catch.
Well, you saw him, after the game was over, he was just you could tell he was thinking about that. Like, man, I should have came down with that. That was a tough catch. But I mean, Jaron did give him a shot to make a play. That was a heck of a throw from Jaron, But
he had that one drop that was another heck of a throw from Jaron on that third down.
Yeah.
That Jaron made a beautiful throw.
He had a dive for it, but Jaron threw it in the only place where Brevin could get it.
It had to be right.
Right.
But Jaron also made Brevin also made a bunch of plays.
Yeah.
Will Mallory, you have to show up in the games, man.
3 drop passes. I counted 3 drop passes.
Definitely 2. The third one was
I say 3 because Jaron put that ball
where it needed to be.
Yeah. Hit his hands where he had both hands. It didn't look like it was deflected. It was very tight coverage. I understand, but you're one of the best tight ends in the country. Come down with that ball.
Yeah, definitely had a couple of drop passes for sure, at least.
Yeah, one of them went, which I know. I think Jaron put a little bit too much mustard on the pass, but I mean it was here, and it went straight, and that could have led to an interception.
And I've seen that with Will a little bit at times, that he tries to run before the ball gets there.
Right.
Doesn't look it all the way into his hands. And Will, I mean, he's a very talented athlete, but you got to catch it before you run.
Yeah.
And
but Big Dog, what do you think about? I understand as the game started to unfold, the pass protection specifically started breaking down a little bit, which is why started to run more tighter for formations. But for the way that we came out, okay, on that first drive, and as much motion as there was on that first drive, what do you feel about how the rest of the game unfolded and not seeing so much of that motion from the tight ends?
I think it was multiple things, and I would actually like to end up with the coaching staff. Because there's some things with Enos that I would have liked to see that I didn't.
Well, that question pretty much does go to Enos.
Right.
More than the tight ends.
All right. To unpack that, I think one thing was when we started getting all the penalties.
Mm-hmm.
I think he got gun shy of continuing with so many motions and different things because we started making a lot of mistakes. Yeah. We started, doing a lot of it. Guys, what did we talk about before the game? What was I concerned about?
Yeah,
hiccups, mistakes,
inexperience,
penalties. First game running a new offense with a lot of freshmen playing, a lot of guys that are obviously everyone's new to the system somewhat still, even though it's obviously started implementing it since January. Really, to spring practice was when they started implementing the offense, and then obviously fall camp. But what was I concerned about? False starts, illegal motions. In this case, delay of games. 14 penalties, guys. And I think a vast majority of them were on the offense. Okay, because we also had holdings. We also had a bunch of procedural types of errors.
One of the
Um,
big things that bothered me, and I don't know whether it was Enos not getting the play in fast enough or Jaron not being able to understand the play fast enough or having recognition of the clock. That's something that really bothered me
and,
because
and,
man,
and that's a stadium he's played at before because they had the spring game there, so he should know where the clock is.
exactly.
And
That's
Jaron, listen, it's both of their faults. If
yeah.
you're asking which or the other, it's both of theirs because Enos took too long to get the play in on times, and Jaron multiple times was not aware of the clock.
And frankly, that's also probably one of the reasons why we started seeing less movement, and less motions because frankly, we would finally get to the line set up and it'll be 10, 9, 8. When you start doing motions and you're going to get either another penalty or waste another
Correct.
another timeout
Correct.
for absolutely no
So
reason.
I think that's why you saw a little less motion
Right.
afterwards, is because all the penalties started happening.
Yeah.
But we do got to do a better job of getting the play in early. And Jaron needs to always, you have to, as a quarterback, you have to know exactly where the play clocks are at, and you have to be aware of the play clocks at all times.
There's one thing that bothers me to no end is when you
Jaron mentioned it, by the way, and I think today. I'm not sure. I don't think he mentioned it at post game. I think he mentioned it in the presser today that one of the things, maybe it was over the weekend, that one of the things was that he has to be aware of the clock on every single play. So, but go
yeah.
ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that I mean, if there's one thing that ticks me off is when you see a quarterback out there and the clock is 4, 3, 2, and the coaching staff has to call the timeout for them.
Correct.
That gets me upset.
Correct.
The quarterback needs. You're the general on the field, man. Like you need to know how much time is on the clock. You need to get that play in, relay it to your offense, get your guys where they need to be.
No, and you see when quarterbacks are in tune and the coordinator's taking too long to get in the play, they'll start doing like this to the coordinator, saying, "Come on."
Yeah,
No, it's like
and we
get it in there.
those are that's one of the things that really
And it happened multiple times.
and it happened multiple times. That was a
Correct.
big hiccup for Jaron. He needs to get better at
But
that.
it is both of their faults. It is
No, I
Dan Enos took too long to get the plays in at times, and the personnel groupings in at times. And Jaron needs to be aware of the play clock always, constantly.
I think one of the penalties was a 12 in the huddle as well, wasn't it?
Correct. We also had a 12 in the huddle. Correct.
So I mean,
No. We had false starts, and we had, I believe we have. I was worried more about a whole bunch of illegal formations. We didn't have a whole bunch of those.
no.
But yeah, there was. Listen,
14 penalties for 118 yards.
yeah,
And if Florida had 9 for 100, but I mean 45 of those yards came like at the end of the game with those.
right with those pass interferences, which
Yeah.
were good calls. I mean,
They were good calls, but I mean,
yeah, they were white.
45 within like a 2-minute period. So
Yeah.
before that, I mean, obviously, they didn't have much penalties, but
Correct. And I mean, so those are things, like I said, they're on Enos and they're on Jaron. And guys, this is what I expected could happen in game number one.
yeah,
It's going to happen. Brand new system, brand new quarterback, brand new tackles. You know, a bunch of our skill position players. Yes, we have KJ Osborne, okay, who's a graduate, but even he transferred in, so, and obviously it's a new offense for him too. Yes, we have Jeff Thomas, who's a junior, but both of our tight ends are sophomores. We have, the two tackles on the line. Corey Gaynor was making his first start. DJ Scaife, with his experience, is still a sophomore. He's a true sophomore.
right.
So you're going to have those type of hiccups, on especially game one. And obviously we had too many of them. And I know that's going to be much better going forward. And Jaron, and we'll get to the quarterback, but Jaron learned some valuable things that you're going to, just like you're going to see a different Zion and John Campbell from now on, you're going to see a different Jaron. And as good as Jaron was on Saturday, man, you're going to see some incredible improvement with an amazing high ceiling.
Should tear it up. You should tear it up, frankly. We're not going to see, I mean, on the defensive side of the football, you could make a case that, maybe Florida State, has some really good talent on the defense side of the football. But besides that, I mean, you're looking at obviously once you get to Clemson,
Virginia. Oh no, Clemson's in a different category.
right? But I'm saying like you're not gonna see.
No, but when we get to Clemson, we'll be an entirely different team.
No, I
An
know,
entirely different team.
but that's my point. Like you have an offensive line, and you have Jaron, and you have this team going up against a team like Florida, top 10. And when it comes to blue chip players, you're not gonna see that anymore until you get to Clemson.
Correct.
You're still gonna see some really good talent Florida State has really good talent.
Virginia has some really good talent.
But even them,
Right.
they're
But
not, they're
no,
not,
no, no.
they're not on
Nowhere near
Florida's
close.
level. They're not on
Nowhere
Florida's level. So
correct.
that's and Big Dog. You said it earlier on, man.
Correct.
These guys are gonna. This is gonna make them better players, better men, better
Absolutely.
everything. So I mean, I think, like I said when I started off and I went on my little not rant, but some things I wanted to get off my chest, man.
Sure.
There are a lot of things to be optimistic about moving forward. But yeah,
And I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was really disappointed with Mallory, man. I mean, we've been very, very excited about Mallory. He's been tearing it up. He was looking like the number one tight end until the official depth chart came out, and Brevin was the number one tight end. But I mean, we thought that was gonna be a two-headed monster, especially in this game. I mean, I envisioned. I said it before. In the week leading up to the game, I thought Mallory was gonna have a field day. Frankly, I was really
Brevin had the game I expected from him.
yeah.
Mallory had nowhere near the game I expected.
No. He didn't,
Correct.
man. He didn't, man. He dropped a lot of passes.
What did we say in our preview of the game? That we thought our key offensively was our
Was it?
tight ends against our linebackers and safeties,
100%.
and our running backs against our linebackers.
Right.
DJ Dallas did it in the passing game.
Yeah.
Brevin Jordan did it.
hmm
Will Mallory did not.
But frankly, dude, I mean,
He'll be better too going forward.
no, yeah, he'll be better. But if there's one guy that has shown up for us when the lights are the brightest, it's been Brevin Jordan.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
we still haven't seen that necessarily to the extent of what we expect from Will Mallory.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
but I think Brevin had a heck of a game. That play at the towards the end, maybe he should have came down with it, but man, it was a tough
Catch.
tough play.
Especially for a big dude. I mean, you have to
Yeah,
remember,
man.
Brevin's
Twisting his body in like
and
midair,
twisting.
double coverage, pretty
That's a
much.
yeah.
Very very tight. So
That's a tough catch.
I don't.
By the way, I even being a Miami fan, they picked up the flag. That
100%.
that was not pass interference.
No, that wasn't.
It was a good call that they picked up the
I
flag.
think it's kind of funny that they picked it up, but whatever.
Yeah, that's the only thing. It's like, well, wait a second. You can't review that, so why the hell did you throw it?
Yeah,
You threw it because you thought you saw a pass interference, so why did you pick it up? Because you damn sure didn't pick up the Romeo Finley one.
yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
but the fact is, when I saw the replay, it wasn't pass interference. It wasn't pass interference. So,
But
then again,
the judge,
the other flags.
but the judge that had, I mean, the guy that had the best vantage point, in my opinion, was the one that threw the flag.
Correct.
So I mean,
Whatever. I mean, the fact is, you're right. You're absolutely right. And that was the only flag that they picked up on the pass because they damn sure didn't pick up any against us. So
right. And for some reason, they were just taking a very long time to call the pass interferences that against Florida and the calls against Florida in general. It just felt like they were just taking a longer time. But I mean, whatever. I mean, I guess that they were, it wasn't SEC refs supposedly.
no. And listen, those 14 penalties, man, we earned them.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's the first game for the refs as well on that stage. Sometimes you see those things.
I don't understand why they picked it up. That's the only thing is I don't understand why they picked it up. But looking at the replay, it was the right call.
If it
should have been pass interference.
If it was Florida, you think they pick it up?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows, man? But then again, against Romeo Finley, they damn sure didn't pick up the flag, and that was a bad call too. So. But
That's what it is.
Whatever. It is what it is. We didn't. If we lost because of penalties, we lost because of penalties we committed.
Yeah.
not phantom ones. So,
Exactly.
but I thought Brevin overall was magnificent.
Hey, yeah, I agree with you, big dog. But that false start that they didn't call on the right tackle.
Oh, there you go. That's true.
That was that was a 4th and 5
That's
that
true.
they were going
They scored
for.
in that. They scored in that on that
They
drive.
they scored 7 on that drive, so
Yeah,
that would have pushed them back to a
that's true.
4th and 10. Then you're forced to kick a field goal.
No, that would have failed because they would have been pushed back to like the 40. So that would have been
I don't think they were that far back.
yeah. When they had that
Were they that far back?
yeah, when they
Oh,
missed,
you're right. They would have had a punt.
they would have had to punt.
You're right.
They would have had to punt.
Well, I mean, you don't know. Their kicker does have a leg, but I mean, yeah,
Yeah, but
they would have had to punt regardless.
Starter, they're not going to do from there.
And that was a blatant false start, man. I mean,
False
that right
start.
tackle, man, it was so obvious. Like that is so inexcusable to me. When it comes to penalties, that's the one that bothered me the most.
Well, yeah, the problem is you got a line judge that's right there, and that's what you're looking for.
That's all they're looking for.
Yeah,
That's your job.
and it wasn't like he was half a beat fast. He was a full beat fast.
He was standing up, man, before the ball was snapped. Get out of here.
Yeah, that was a horrible missed call.
Terrible, man.
In a critical down. I mean, it wasn't fourth quarter, but it was a critical part of the game.
Yeah.
So they definitely blew that call. Yeah, I mean, you could make a case. You could make a case.
But whatever. It is what it is.
But the fact is that it's almost like that what they tell you at like traffic school, that if people complain that they were caught for speeding and they weren't speeding, it's like, well, think about all the hundreds of times you were speeding and you didn't get caught. So that's what they try to tell you in traffic school. So that's one of those that we did have those two penalties went against us. One that they picked up the flag, and the other one that they completely missed in that false start and a critical down. So, but
Brevin did,
but we made 14 penalties.
Yeah,
that we definitely deserved.
Yeah, but wrapping it up with the tight ends, man. I think
Mallory was disappointing.
Yeah, Mallory was disappointing.
Mallory was very disappointing.
Brevin played a heck of a game. I know. I think the tight ends have some assignments when it comes to like chips that they might have missed.
That they did miss.
That they might have missed. So that's something. Yeah, that's something that needs to get corrected. And I think I don't know who. I think Enos is the one that mentioned it specifically about
yes, he did.
Yeah. So
no, was it Enos or was it Manny?
I'm pretty sure it was Enos, because Enos was talking about how many sacks were on Jaron and how many sacks were on the offense.
Right. But I think it was Manny that mentioned that the tight ends miss.
Regardless, they missed it.
Yeah, regardless.
Regardless, they missed it. So I think they could have done better at that. But I think Brevin, played a good game.
Brevin played a heck of a game, and Will Mallory, we need a lot better from Will.
Yeah, but when it comes to the tight ends, man, Brevin's like a DJ. You know he's gonna show up. Doesn't matter how bright the lights are, what kind of stage it is, man. Brevin Jordan's gonna show up, and Mallory has the talent to show up, and you can make a case even more so. But we still haven't seen it, and it's something that we would like to see. But it's something that I do expect to see moving forward. So,
correct. In terms of wide receivers, I was so impressed with their blocking. I really was, guys. Our wide receivers, man, they were willing and able blockers.
Especially Harley, man, because Harley doesn't have that size, man.
He doesn't. He doesn't, and he made some tremendous blocks. I was really, really impressed with that. Really, on the wide receivers, and I know they were open at times that we didn't either. Jaron didn't see him in time, or Jaron was getting pressured and sacked.
Right.
But overall, I don't remember them dropping a pass.
No. Oh no. Yeah.
Thomas,
Jeff Thomas, the touchdown.
Right, the touchdown, which would have been a tough catch, but
no.
For an NFL player, that's a catch you need to make in that spot. And I think, and Manny said it. Manny said, if you ask Jeff Thomas, he'll say he should have come down with that. And so that was a big drop and a big part of the game. That was a key drop. Yeah, I mean, no, that was a beautiful pass.
Where's that ball at?
And for some of those people that were saying that Jaron should have thrown it downfield more, he did throw it downfield a bunch, guys. And that was one of the ones that Jeff dropped, the crossing pattern for the touchdown to Brevin. Yeah, Jeff should have had that, but that was really the only drop I saw from the wide receivers, because we saw the ones from Mallory.
KJ didn't drop one.
Did K? I don't think so.
Hmm.
But I do remember. I do remember a drop. I'm trying to remember.
I remember KJ being frustrated. I think with I'm not sure, man.
Anyways, but overall, I thought they played a good game. So
Now-
the wide receivers.
No,
Jeff needs to come up big in big games.
Oh yeah. Now there's a lot of people. Since we're on the wide receivers, a lot of people asking why we didn't see the likes of Hightower, or why we didn't see. I think Pope played like 2 snaps.
And then Wiggins is another one that people expected to see and didn't see. Hightower we didn't see.
But we saw Martell.
Correct.
More than we saw them.
Correct. But that's not apples to apples, guys. And that's what Manny was addressing.
Exactly.
Because if you count total snaps, well, you're including the snaps that Martell was a Wildcat, was a quarterback. Okay?
Right.
Those were additional snaps.
Yeah.
You're including snaps that he was really put in for a decoy.
Exactly.
Okay. Then he runs from the slot. Well, Hightower and Wiggins are outside receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Pope does both. I don't think if you really look at Martell as a receiver, I don't think he got that many snaps. People said, well, he got the 4th most behind JT4, KJ Osborne, and Mike Harley. Okay, yeah, he did, but they weren't snaps as wide receivers all the time, because like I said, there was multiple snaps where he was lining up at quarterback. There was, and like the one time he lined up a receiver, we did a jet sweep with him. So there was snaps there that count extra that weren't necessarily Tate Martell as a wide receiver. But yeah, I mean, I would like to see Hightower in the game more. I'd like to see Mark Pope in the game more.
Mm-hmm.
And DJ and D Wiggins also, man. I mean, listen, I know he's dropped too many balls and in the past, and people are concerned about that. But he's also 6'3", 200 pounds, and runs and got timed at 23 miles an hour.
Yeah.
In cleats.
I wanted to see. I wanted to see at least one jet sweep, man, with like Mark Pope or like Jeff Thomas, and that's something that we didn't see, and I was expecting to see at least one of them, man.
We ran it with KJ Osborne, but we did and Tate Martell, and we didn't run it with JT4.
Yeah, and both KJ and Tate went nowhere. So
right.
Well,
KJ, a little bit of so got some yardage.
Well, yeah, a few, but
right.
I don't. I think Tate, it was out of the Wildcat. I don't think it was a jet sweep to Tate.
I'm trying to remember
because
I have to watch the.
They put Tate in for Tate was back there for the Wildcat twice. One of them, I think he handed it off to DJ, and then on the second time he did the Wildcat.
He ran a read option that he handed off to DJ.
Right, exactly, and then he did it again. He kept it. Ran to the left and just got hammered by everybody.
I thought that for some reason I thought that was the one that was on the just.
No, that was the read option that he took himself. But but yeah, that's something I would have expected to see more, and I just wanted to see Pope out there, and I wanted to see
JT4 get it too.
Huh?
JT4 get it on that.
Well, no, yeah, obviously either one of them. I wanted to see Pope, when it comes to speed, or both. But I wanted to see Hightower out there as well.
Yeah, and even Wiggins. I mean, Wiggins can take the top off the defense, and he has that size, that 6'3" size.
Right.
So, I mean, overall, I think the receivers played well.
They had Marco Wilson and C.J. Henderson, man.
Yeah, they faced really tough cornerbacks, and there were times, and I have seen some film, and I've seen some film of them running open. So
yeah,
they deserve some credit.
Right.
And I thought that they were. I mean, I really love the way that they were blocking. I mean, it's that Taylor Stubblefield. That's one of the things he stresses, and we saw it.
Exactly.
And they were putting guys on the ground. They weren't just standing in the way of guys. They were putting guys on the ground. So running backs, DJ Dallas.
DJ Dallas and DJ Dallas.
Man. Yeah, man. Cam did have that long one that was called back because of the holding call. That actually was two people holding.
Yeah.
But
it goes KJ and Jeff Thomas.
Yeah. One of the things that I believe was Enos that mentioned was that Cam there was a play he could have had another big gainer and broke to the side instead of straight north and south.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Manny also got on him because of that. Guys, those people that were saying stuff about DJ, listen, that guy's a team leader. That guy is a stud of an athlete. He gives you everything he has. And people wanted to focus on the fumbles last year and whatever. But man, he makes plays.
Yeah, he does.
And you can see in his interview that he's a leader that's all about winning. He makes people miss. He breaks tackles. He does everything you need. He was a good receiver out of the backfield. Made a really nice catch on that one play that Jaron had to throw it over somebody.
Oh yeah.
Made a real nice catch with that and then turned it upfield. DJ played a great game.
Yeah, he did.
And I mean, in a lot of ways, I think that he was probably going to get the game ball if we end up, winning that game because he was the guy that I thought played tremendously. Yeah. And yet, look what he said in an interview in the press interview today, press conference. What did he say? He said, "Oh, I got to play better. There was plays I should have made. I need to make more plays."
It's a leader,
That's
man.
what you want. That's what you want from a leader.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought he played really, really well. I think we're getting close to Lingard time. I think we're getting close to see him.
He was dressed, baby.
He was dressed.
He was ready to go.
I love seeing that. That's one thing. For those of you that
there wasn't a Robert Burns sighting.
No, there was
surprised me.
That did surprise me a little bit too.
But we couldn't run the ball and like in between the tackles. It felt like unless DJ was out there, doing a wildcat. Which man, you want to talk about efficiency when DJ runs that little wildcat? My goodness.
We talked about it in our podcast. Is if you look at even last season, when DJ was in the wildcat, we probably averaged 7 yards a play. And we saw it again. Yeah. He had tremendous success with the wildcat again.
Yeah.
Listen, DJ's one of those guys that like the way Brevin's become, where you can just count on them.
100%. Yeah,
they're going to show up.
He's going to show up.
Yeah. So really happy with DJ. Cam will have better days.
Yeah.
He did, like I said, he had that one run that was obviously, brought back because of the holding calls. But overall, our passing, I'd like to see us use even more the running backs out of the backfield in terms of in passing game. But we did quite a bit of it, and we did some screens and stuff like that. So I was happy with that. But now let's get to the offensive line.
Yeah.
All right.
Atrocious.
Let's get down this way. What's that?
Atrocious.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. For those of you that keep harping on what Eno said about Jaron being responsible for those for
half, five of them.
That's what he said. No, Jaron was responsible for 3. The 2 of them that he's counting on is when Jaron was getting killed and ran out of the pocket and then ran out of bounds. What Enos meant to say was those count as sacks. He should have just thrown them away. But it was still the offensive line that forced Jaron into that position.
Right.
So those were on Jaron, not on the offense. Those were not.
Those
on
were
Jaron.
Exactly.
Those were on the offensive line, not Jaron.
Right.
What Jaron should have done was throw it away, but the offensive line broke down, which is why he had to run away anyways. And then he should have thrown it away instead of still trying to make a play, and then he ended up running out of bounds. You being forced out of bounds. So then those goes down as sacks. But those are still on the offensive line. It was, guys, listen, it was rough. It was rough to watch. I expected the offensive line to be serviceable. I expected, yes, we would give up 3-4 sacks, not 10.
It just felt like there were probably 2 or 3 plays that Jaron would do a 5-step drop and actually have time to step into a throw.
Yeah.
Every single other time, like if Jaron was doing like a 5-step drop, that's it. The pressure was already there, man.
Yeah, there was a couple of times where he was in the shotgun, and it felt like they were getting there before the ball was.
Yeah.
And Zion was really slow off the ball,
But
which is not the way Zion plays.
but to be honest with you, I think there could have been some plays there, and maybe some of this falls on Enos. When I wasn't a fan of the play action because I feel like when you do a play action and you have that much penetration early, that just like if your running game is working, then it's one thing, you
Right.
know. But if it wasn't, you know, DJ with the Wildcat, you know, if we were lining up under center and we were trying to run the football, we weren't really doing much. So I felt
Right.
like sometimes the play action was unnecessary, and sometimes with the play action, plays take a little bit longer to develop, and you don't have that kind of time back there in the pocket. At least Jaron didn't have that kind of time back there in the pocket. Um, I wasn't a. I understand Enos was trying to make adjustments, you know, trying to give the offensive line some help, you know, whether it be, you know, with the tight ends trying to chip and stuff like that. But I just felt like if you would have put Jaron in the shotgun more, spread the field out more.
That's the thing is that I think it took us a while. It took Enos a while to adjust to when we had like a bunch formation close to the line of scrimmage where they weren't out wide.
That could confuse a
Todd
quarterback. You don't know
Todd
who's
Graham
coming.
was bringing pressure from that every single play.
Right.
Every single play that we had a bunch formation that was close to the line, he was bringing that guy, a guy from there as a free blitzer.
But that's my point.
And it
When
took us a while to adjust. Then when he did adjust, our tight end, whether it was Brevin or Mallory, missed their assignment a couple of times
right.
and turned missing their chips.
But that's my point with Jaron it being his first start, especially, man, and you know Todd being known for these exotic, you know, blitzes and stuff like that. When you have your guys so close to that line of scrimmage, you know you have to react so fast and identify the guy that's coming.
Right.
And the problem is when you got them that close and they're bunched up, you don't know exactly who's going to be coming at you. So then, boom, ball snaps, bullets are
Oh,
flying.
and the thing is, and I want people because people have really made a big deal about what Eno said about blaming Jaron for some of the sacks, but yet when they asked Enos about
Oh
being
yeah,
aggressive and making big plays, when Enos broke down three of the times, twice with Jeff Thomas and once with KJ Osborne, what did Enos say on all three of those plays?
it was.
Our left tackle got beat.
Yeah.
Then our right tackle misses the four technique, which means the end that was literally lined up directly in front of John Campbell whiffed on him
Mm-hmm.
and let him in right away. And then he said, and on the KG Osborne play, our left tackle got beat. So the three plays that he mentioned that would have been big plays, none of the three were Jaron's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Twice it was Zion getting beat, and once it was John Campbell missing the four technique, missing the guys. I hadn't said that. So you guys know what the techniques are. We'll do an X's and O's breakdown. Maybe we want to shoot one this weekend.
That's probably a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do another X's and O's. The technique refers to where the lineman plays. If a lineman's a zero technique, means he's lined up on the nose guard. Okay. Then you have basically a one technique is he's playing the gap between the center and the guard, and it's called a one technique. Doesn't matter which side of the line it is.
Right.
Okay. Then when you get to a four technique, it means a guy who's lined up on the offensive tackle directly.
Mm.
So that was the guy who was directly in front of John Campbell, and he went outside and let the guy in, and that was his man.
Yeah.
He always blocked inside out on those type of things. So he let the guy go. And then the other two plays that he mentioned, the left tackle, Zion got beat. Listen, it was ugly. It was ugly. Because something that the people don't mention is Jaron also got away from a bunch of sacks.
Yeah, he did.
That he was able to get out of the pocket and either one time he ran for a good sized gainer, and other times he got rid of the ball. There could have been even more sacks. And listen, there's no our interior.
Jaron did miss some checkdowns though.
Oh, he did. No, absolutely.
Yeah, he definitely missed some. He missed some checkdowns.
Listen, if anybody thought that a freshman is going to play against a team like Florida and not make quite a few mistakes, you're crazy.
Right.
You're crazy. Look at Trevor Lawrence. Guys, the Trevor Lawrence that beat Alabama, that wasn't the same Trevor Lawrence that you saw in the beginning of the season. Because remember, guys, he didn't beat out Kelly Bryant completely until what, like week 4?
Week 4, I think it was.
Week 4, somewhere around there. And yeah, he was playing and they hadn't decided yet. But the Trevor Lawrence that you saw early in the season, that wasn't the same dude that beat Alabama. It took him quite a few games to start playing better and then better and then better. So it wasn't from game 1 he didn't light it up against Alabama. Okay. Right. He had a full season of work before he did. And like I said, it was towards the end of the season that Trevor Lawrence was really showing, oh, wait a second, this dude is really special. Okay. Early on, yes, we all knew he was a 5-star and he was all-world this and all-world that. But those of you who remember the stories in the opening finals that Jaron had outplayed Lawrence when they were there. It takes a while, guys. It takes a while to adjust, and especially when you're playing a defense like Florida who has talent, but in addition to have talent, they have a very innovative defensive coordinator. Jaron, there's no doubt that Jaron can improve. Here's the thing. So some reason or other, somebody had them 247 has Jaron 19 for 29, and someone else had them 19 for 30. So whichever. If it's either 60.
Yeah, I got 19 for 30 here.
Yeah, it's either 63 or 66% of his completions. Didn't throw an interception. Not only did he not throw an interception, there wasn't one ball that was even close to being intercepted.
Right.
Okay, there wasn't one ball that was touched by a defender other than that tip ball, which would have been even more perfect of a pass if it hadn't been tipped, because then Brevin could have caught it and scored without being touched.
Without being touched, exactly.
Right. But
and the fact that it got tipped and it still got there with more than enough time
shows you his arm strength.
His arm strength, right.
And guys, you know what we did not see? And this has been years since I've been able to say this. Okay. Because let's break down the quarterbacks and the offensive line at the same time. You know what I did not see? I did not see Jaron from a clean pocket miss an open receiver, not once. Okay?
I think that throw he missed,
the one that was behind Jeff Thomas a little bit.
Yeah, that's probably the only one.
Correct.
And that was a pretty clean pocket.
He had wash around him.
He had some time. He had enough time though.
Right. You don't know, he wasn't being hit.
Yeah.
But that's not a miss, because Jeff Thomas could have made that catch. He had to bend backwards for it like this as he was falling down, but it wasn't that was his worst pass of the game.
Yeah, no, for sure, definitely.
Okay, that was his worst pass.
Yeah, he didn't throw a pass into a defender's hands that was dropped or nothing.
No defender got a hand on one of his passes other than that tip that was a touchdown, and even the Jeff Thomas one was away from the defender.
Yeah.
Okay, but that was the only pass that he did not put basically on the money.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Out of 30 pass attempts when he is being beaten up and down the field.
Right.
Okay? Not one time. When's the last time we've been able to say that in a game?
It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And for those...
We didn't throw over 200 yards. What was the stat?
The stat is Jaron threw for 214 yards. That's more yardage than we had last year in 8 of the last 9 games.
Yeah.
I believe that stat. I want to give it to Marshall. I believe it was Marshall Thomas, State of the U. Yeah. If it's not Marshall, it was someone else. I apologize, but I believe that's where I saw the stat.
and that's against Florida.
214 yards was more than we have thrown in 8 of the last 9 games that we have played, and it was against Florida.
And it was his first start.
And his first start ever.
And with an atrocious offensive line play.
With 10 sacks.
So, yeah, man.
All right?
Future's bright for Jaron.
And what we saw is not one time that we see him miss a guy that was open, which we saw every game multiple times in last year and in the year before. Okay? Not so much with Kaya, but with Kaya, he was just so immobile that if you got him any pressure at all, he'd fall into the sacks. But, Kaya completed like 63% of his passes, I believe, his last year, and he was over 60%. I think 2 of the 3 years that he played might have even been close to all 3. But
he was right there at 60 every single year.
Yeah. So Kaya was an accurate quarterback. He just didn't have, any athleticism. But obviously Jaron has the athleticism also. Guys, Jaron is even more accurate than Kaya, even more accurate because Jaron, he puts balls with perfect ball placement, and you saw that a bunch. And what we did not see, like I said, was a completely clean pocket where he just misses his man.
In Kaya's first year, he completed 58.5.
There you go.
His second year, 61.2, and his last year, 62%.
Correct.
So he never completed 63% of his passes.
Correct. And Jaron did either 63 or 66, depending on whose stats you go by. And, oh, by the way, in a game that he got sacked 10 times. And against a very good defense with the best tandem of cornerbacks in the country, and C.J. Henderson and Marco Wilson.
Where was that stat that I saw that Jaron's numbers with a clean pocket?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I got to find that one.
If you guys didn't hear that, Jaron's numbers with what was considered, I don't think it was even necessarily a clean pocket. I think it was where he was not being pressured was 15 of 19. Okay? And by the way, those 4 incompletions, I think Mallory's drops are included in there. And the pass that Jeff Thomas didn't catch and the pass that Brevin didn't catch.
Right.
Other than that, everything was a completion.
Yeah.
From a clean pocket. So you're talking about a guy, and people are going to say, oh, well, a lot of his passes were short. A lot of quarterbacks' passes are always short. And yet he had 19 completions for 214 yards. That's a good distribution of yards per completion.
Yeah.
Okay? And a lot of that yak yardage was because the ball was in perfect place where the Jeff Thomas one. I think they actually counted that as a run because they said it was that Jaron threw it backwards. You remember Jeff had come in motion, and then it was like caught like this. It was like a one-step throw.
Wait, what are you talking about?
The one that he threw like a 16-yarder to Jeff Thomas that actually came down as a run. It counted as a run because they said the pass was actually
right. Yeah, that's
but
what.
That one
that's
he
the
put
one.
it.
Yeah.
Literally, Jeff Thomas caught the ball like this and straight up the field.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of that came because of where the passes were played. The only one that was like the one that DJ Dallas made a great play on was because Jaron had to throw it over the defensive end on that side.
Yeah.
But guys, every single pass like I said, the ones that the one in the end zone giving a chance for Jeff Thomas, the one he gave Brevin a chance. Then you had a couple of drops by Mallory. But what you saw was every single time was Jaron Williams throwing the ball in a perfect location.
Yeah.
And yes, he needs to make sure to be crisper, not ever look at the pass rush. Most of the times he was keeping a vast majority of the time he kept his eyes downfield. I think just the accumulation of the sacks, not from a gun-shy standpoint, but from a frustration standpoint of trying to make a play, that he started looking to see how he could get away and lost sight of looking downfield.
Right.
I expected more for the interior of the line. Gainer, I thought Gainer and DJ Scaife had a Gainer making his first start. I expected Navon to play a little bit better than he did. But I think you're going to see it much, much better going forward. And like we said, the things with Jaron, making sure that he gets the ball out of his hands, uh, making sure you're aware of the play clock at all times, those type of things. And I think the future is really bright.
Yeah.
Uh, Guys, I don't see any reason why we can't go 11-1 and then meet Clemson in the ACC championship game. And by that time, I think you're going to see a different Miami Hurricanes team than what you saw on Saturday.
Yeah.
And that's a team that can compete with anybody.
Yeah. I agree. 100%.
So
So yeah, guys, we're probably gonna break down some film, next week. This weekend we're probably gonna do some X's and O's. The Big Dog's gonna get into his bag and maybe cover the trenches. I think the trenches is one he actually has set up and we were gonna get into, but we didn't yet. If you guys, we're gonna cover the trenches, but if there's any X's and O's suggestions that you guys would like to see, put them in the comment sections below, so the Big Dog could start getting it, working his magic, and breaking it down the way he does, for you guys when it comes to the X's and O's. Yeah. Oh, I'm right here. I'm gonna put up a poll. Do you agree with Enos in his statement that he did not think that Jaron Williams played well enough to win? Do you guys think that Jaron Williams played well enough to win? I'll go ahead and leave a yes and a no. I'm very excited to see it.
Clarify that for him a little bit. And when Enos was pressed on it,
no. Forget about what Enos said. I just want to know what the fans think.
But the fans, no, but I want to because a lot was made about certain statements because people didn't listen to the whole press conference.
No, but forget about what Enos said. If you guys saw the game, do you think that Jaron played well enough to win? Yes or no?
Correct.
That's it.
And when he was pressed on it, he said, that you guys see Jaron. That he doesn't see Jaron as he is. He sees Jaron as what he can be.
Yeah.
And that he holds him to a standard of perfection.
Right.
That's the standard that he holds him to. Yeah. And that's what Jaron said that he loves.
Yeah.
Is that he wants Jaron to play a perfect game.
Right.
Obviously, perfection, unless you're Jesus Christ, that's not possible. But as a coach, if you're not holding your players to that standard, you're doing them a disservice because then you're allowing them to not be as great as they can be.
Right.
And that's what Eno said also is that his job is not to give Jaron a soft bed and say, man, you really were accurate on all those throws. Gosh, your first start, you looked awesome. That was fantastic because that's not coaching.
You're right. Right.
That's being a fan.
Even though Manny did say that he was very impressed with Jaron's poise and how he handled himself.
And his competitiveness.
And he thinks that everybody could see why they chose him to be QB1. So I think that was a pretty high compliment. But me, for one, Big Dog, I don't know what you think. I think Jaron played well enough to win the ball game.
Oh, absolutely.
That's just my opinion.
I think Jaron played better than Dan Eno's coach. Frankly,
that's tough because I don't know, man.
The delay of game penalties.
Yeah.
Taking too long with the personnel groupings. Let's remember also, he hasn't been an offensive coordinator since 2017.
No, that's true.
So he's also been a little rusty.
Yeah.
It took him a little bit to adjust, even though he said that, according to him, he said that nothing that Florida did surprised them because they had practice for it. Yet it looked like they weren't prepared for all those blitzes coming from the short side whenever they had an opportunity to. Whenever we bunched receivers close to the line of scrimmage, they were bringing pressure from there.
Yeah.
That sort of, I think he could have adjusted better. I think we took a little bit long to start chipping with the tight ends and running backs, although I think that he said a couple times that he was missed. The interior line also missed a couple of delayed blitzes, up the middle blitzes, which, especially when you have a guy with Donaldson's experience, DJ Scaife has some experience, and even though Corey Gaynor, this was his first start, He's
Mhm.
played a bunch because he played a bunch in 2017.
Mhm.
So that's something that we have to get cleaned up. But absolutely, I believe Jaron played more than well enough to win. And if you ask me what I expected from his first game, this was even more impressive to me than what I could have expected, especially because of his toughness. And the
Yeah.
fact that his throws were on point. And I didn't see, I might have saw some jitters in that not finding the play clock. And, after he kept getting hit, like you
I
said,
do I do feel like Jaron was gun shy at times. I think Jaron, especially early on, I think he was a little hesitant to sling it and let the ball go because he was maybe scared to turn over the ball, or maybe
that's fair.
he didn't trust the read. I did see that at times,
That was but a few times. Right, right, right.
very
But
little.
it's to be expected in your first start.
No, 100%.
And
Yeah,
especially in
yeah,
a game like against a team like Florida,
yeah, one hundred
who does
percent.
have a good defense.
100%. But
Correct.
that's gonna it's gonna take time, man. The more reps you get,
Correct.
the quicker your decision making
Guys,
is gonna
most
be. So,
most QBs get a mulligan.
oh
They get a chance to start against, a lesser team. You
right.
know, he didn't get that opportunity.
But look, man, at the end of the day, if I tell you guys, all right, or if I would have told you guys, I'm tell you right now that when it came to first downs, Miami had 20, Florida had 17. Uh, Miami had 301 yards to Florida's 304. But I think the main thing here, if I would have told you that the Canes would have won the turnover margin 4-1, and the Canes also had 36 minutes and 13 seconds of
Yeah.
time possession. I mean, I think that basically, and I also tell you that, by the way, Jaron went 19 for 30 for 214 yards, one touchdown, zero interceptions.
Correct.
I think everybody says that's a win.
Correct. Correct. And the opposite, if you tell them 14 penalties and 10 sacks, everybody says we got beat by 40 points.
Right. Right.
You know,
But I'm so and I
there's
think
a lot of positive things, guys.
but
There's
but
a lot
that's
of positive things to take away.
I think you just nailed it on the head, big dog. I think, the penalties and the sacks is ultimately what probably cost us the game.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
regardless, guys, let us know what you guys think. Your reaction, your review. Not just to what we said, but the game in general. What do you put the blame on when it comes to this loss against Florida? How do you feel moving forward? Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? What would you like to see moving forward? Do you think that, Butch Berry, Manny, they should do some shuffling with the offensive line? Or do you think we should just stick, with Zion and Campbell out there and have them just keep on progressing? And
Manny addressed that.
no, I know. I'm just asking. I'm just asking
Guys, no, I
the
understand. I
audience.
understand. You're asking their opinion if that's the right answer.
Right.
Manny said those are our guys.
Those are our guys. I mean, so how do you guys feel about that? Your takeaways and what do you see moving forward?
One more thing that I would like people's opinion on is I felt that because of the situation of the game, and I understand that it would have a detrimental impact on the confidence of Zion and John Campbell, I felt that we should have moved DJ. Now, mind you, like I said, always hindsight's 2020, but I said it at the time. You watched the game with me, and I said this at the time.
Yeah.
Move DJ Scaife to left tackle, put Cleveland Reed at right guard, and put Kayleon Herbert at right tackle.
Right.
Okay, because yes, they kept fighting, but they were not. I think Manny and Enos put the faith in them because they kept fighting, and to their credit, you didn't see them at all any give up. If anything, they were playing just as hard or even harder because they were giving up the sacks. But I do think that we should have made that adjustment at halftime. But obviously, the long-term view is if you do that, then you're destroying the confidence of Zion and John Campbell, and you expect those to be your tackles when we play in the ACC championship game, and for them to be ready for prime time then.
And
that's the flip side.
You could go down a slippery slope if you start playing musical chairs with the offensive line, and that's the thing that I don't think we wanted to see.
Correct. So, I just thought because it was something so extreme that I thought something extreme had to be done. Right. Because they were getting so much pressure on us.
Big dog, we were up 13-7, man.
Yeah, but we were.
So I mean, it's tough. Like, do you really do that much of a shakeup? Even though you're up by 6 points,
right
at the break. So it's kind of tough,
But you and I talked about it.
Yeah, we did.
It really looked to me that Zion and John Campbell weren't up to snuff.
Yeah,
they weren't, and they ended up not being.
Right.
But listen,
it's a learning experience, man.
Absolutely.
Growing pains.
Absolutely.
Moving forward.
And Zion Nelson and John Campbell will be better football players and better men because of what they went through on Saturday, as will Jaron Williams. And the fact that Jaron competed, toughed it out the way he did, showed the tremendous accuracy, showed so much everything, tangible and intangible. The future's really bright, and if anything, guys, I'm even more sure of what I said, that 10 wins would be the floor for us, and I think 11-1 is what's much more likely.
I'm with you, and like Manny said, paybacks.
Yep.
A pitch.
Guys, this is not the same team, and like I said, if you don't see it, I can't help you.
Yeah.
But the intensity that they showed, the fact of the way that we showed up, and even when we did things that caused our own adversity at times, they also reacted to it very, very positively. And going forward, I tell you what, if we play this game week 5 or week 6, not only do we have a different outcome, we have a completely different outcome.
Yeah.
Because then I think that you're going to see a Miami team. Obviously, they would have played much better too.
Yeah.
Because they played sloppy also. But I think that would have been a game that would have gone pretty substantially in our favor.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see that starting in North Carolina.
100%. I'm with you. So, yeah, if you're new here, guys, and you enjoy the content, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can get updated and notified anytime we do upload a video. Our live chats are every single Thursday at 7 p.m. So we hope to see you guys this week. Talk some more, Miami, Florida, and looking forward into the future.
And also, we have the PayPal in the description of this video, and you're also going to see it in the actual.
No, not on the screen, big dog. That's on Thursdays, man.
That's on the Thursdays one, but it is in the description of the video. So if you do want to support the channel,
we would really appreciate it.
It would be great. And we are going to have a film breakdown, guys, of the Miami and Florida game. It's just there was so many opinion things to talk about that I didn't want to get technical with all the film until we got all those opinion things out of the way.
Right.
And then we will do a film breakdown of the Miami and Florida game and go over a lot of things that we covered today. But as you saw, this is almost a 2-hour show or a 2-hour show, and we didn't show film.
Right.
That in order for us to cover all these opinions, if we would have shown film, it would have been a 4-hour show.
Yeah.
But we are going to do a film breakdown of this game and also in other X's and O's, and we'll see everybody Thursday at 7 on our live chat.
Yeah. So we'll interact with you guys in the comments. Let us know what you think and all that good stuff. And as always,
it's all about this you.
Go Canes, baby. The future's bright.
Actually, good day, everybody, because this will be released on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So have a good one.
Have a good one, guys.
Ryan Little. Yoga.